Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So Syafiq bin Sulaiman, my name is Nur Jannah binti Zaini, and my metric number is 059213. So this time I will present my answer for the ICR assignment about crime of aggression. So, okay, we start with the Court Founding Treaty called the Rome Statute grants the ICC jurisdiction over 4 main crimes. So the first one is the crime of genocide is characterized by the specific intent to destroy in whole or in a part a national, ethnic, racial, or religious group by killing its member or by other means, causing serious bodily or mental harm to members of the group, deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part, imposing measures intended to prevent birth within the group, or forcibly transferring children of the group to another. Second, the ICC can prosecute crimes against humanity which are serious violation committed as part of a large-scale attack against any civilian population. The 15 forms of crimes against humanity listed in the Rome Statute include offences such as murder, rape, imprisonment, and forced disappearance, enslavement, particularly of women and children, sexual slavery, torture and appetite and deportation. And then next, war crimes, which are grave breaches of the Geneva Convention in the context of armed conflict, and include, for instance, the use of child soldiers, the killing or torture of persons such as civilians or prisoners of war, intentionally directing attack against hospitals, historic monuments, or buildings dedicated to religion, education, art, science, or charitable purposes. And then finally, the fourth crime falling within the ICC's jurisdiction is the crime of aggression, which is the title that I will discuss right now. Okay, so the crime of aggression, it is the use of armed force by a state against the sovereignty, integrity, or independence of another state. The definition of these crimes was adopted through amending the Rome Statute at the first review conference of the statute in Kampala, which is in Uganda in 2010. On 15 December 2017, the Assembly of States Parties adopted by consensus a resolution on the activation of the jurisdiction of the court over the crime of aggression as of 17 July 2018. So we're moving on to the Rome Statute definition of aggression. So under the Rome Statute, as amended in the 2010 Kampala Review Conference, the crime of aggression means the planning, preparation, initiation, or execution by a person in a position effectively to exercise control over or to direct political or military action of a state of an act of aggression which, by its character, gravity, and scale, constitutes and manifests by violating of the Charter of the United Nations. The criminal prosecution of aggression is limited to the most serious acts of state aggression. Non-state aggression, and even more disputed concept, is excluded. The Rome Statute also restricts the crime of aggression to leaders of a state who have the power to determine a state's policy excluding even high-ranking officials or generals who carry out a war of aggression. And the next for this slide, I will talk about when did the crime of aggression start. So the crime of aggression is defined in Article 8 in the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court, which adopted at the 2010 Review Conference in Kampala. So in essence, three elements are required, which is the first one, the per perpetrator must be a political or military leader. For example, a person in a position effectively to exercise control over or to direct the political or military action of the state. And then the second essence, which is the court must prove that the perpetrator was involved in the planning, preparation, initiation, or execution of such a state act of aggression. And then the last one, such a state act must amount to an act of aggression in accordance with the definition contained in General Assembly resolution, and it must, by its character, gravity, and scale, constitute a manifest violation of the UN Charter. This implies that only the most serious form of illegal use of force between states can be subject to the court's jurisdiction. Cases of lawful individual or collective self-defense, as well as action authorized by the Security Council, are thus clearly excluded. So here are the three facts of the crime of aggression, which is the first one. It focuses on the most responsible, which is the leaders. And then it applies to individuals and not the states. And then the last one, it may be the core crime tried at the ICC. But who can commit the crime of aggression? So, the crime of aggression, as defined by Article 8, must be committed by a person in a position to direct or control the action of the state or military. So, for the purpose of the statute, crime of aggression means the planning, preparation, initiation, or execution by a person in position effectively to exercise control over or to direct political or military action of the state. Of an act of aggression which by its character, gravity, and scale constitute manifest violation of the Charter of the United Nations. So for the purpose of paragraph 1, act of aggression means the use of armed force by a state against the sovereignty, territorial integrity, or political independence of another state, or in another manner inconsistent with the Charter of the United Nations. Any of the following acts, regardless of a declaration of war, shall, in accordance with United Nations General Assembly Resolution of 14 December 1974, qualify as an act of aggression. So the first one, the invention of or attack by the armed forces of a state of the territory of another state, or any military occupation, however temporary, resulting from such invasion or attack, or any annexation by the use of force of the territory of another state or part thereof. And B, bombardment by the armed forces of a state against the territory or another state, or the use of any weapons by a state against the territory of another state. And then the blockade of the ports or coast of a state by the armed forces of another state. And then an attack by the armed forces of a state on the land, sea, or air forces, or merit and effects of another state. And then E, the use of armed forces of one state which are within the territory of another state with the agreement of the receiving state in contravention of the conditions provided for in the agreement or any extension of their presence in such territory beyond the termination of the agreement. And then F, the action of a state in allowing its territory which it has placed at the disposal of another state to be used by that other state for perpetrating an act of aggression against a third state. And then we're moving on to G. The sending by or on behalf of a state of armed band, groups, irregular or mercenaries which carry out acts of armed force against another state of such gravity as to amount to the acts listed above or its substantial involvement therein. Oh no, sorry. We have a little trouble. I have to reconnect. Okay, now we're back to the screen and we finally in the conclusion part. So for the conclusion for this uh crimes of aggression. So aggression was one of four crimes listed in the Rome Statute when the treaty was adopted in 1998. However, the completion of the definition and provision of jurisdiction were postponed for further negotiation. And in 2010, the ICC, the International Criminal Court member states adopted the definition and condition of execution and jurisdiction for the crime of aggression. The letter, which were updated by the SP in 2017. So I think that is all from me about the crime of aggression. And thank you so much. See you on the next semester. Thank you.